What's going on? Welcome back to the channel. Welcome back to another one today. Um, Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whenever you're catching this video. Today I want to talk about something serious. I want to talk about depression and Dark Night of the Soul. And if you haven't heard of Dark Night of the Soul, then I'm glad that you're hearing this video because I'm pretty sure this is going to shed some light. Um, but there's depression, and then there's Dark Night of the Soul, and we're gonna touch on some of that. I made some notes today, and um, I want to talk to you about a Dark Night of the Soul. If you've been depressed for years, if you have been like, there's been this deep dark depression that even though you wear your mask for the world and you get through the day and you take care of work, underneath all that, it's like you feel when you by yourself, when you truly inside of yourself, you feel this turmoil, like you feel this meaninglessness, this hopelessness, like purposeless. Um, you almost feel detached from life. You may feel detached from being a mother, being a father. You may feel detached from all the roles that you got going, and it just may be just very low desolation. Like you don't feel like you can be happy. You don't feel like you're going to be happy. In fact, you may not even like the idea of happiness anymore. All right. If you experience an existential crisis, in other words, like what do they call it? A midlife crisis. You experiencing a midlife crisis, and a midlife crisis don't have to be only in your midlife. Your midlife crisis can be in your 20s. I definitely experienced it in my 20s, you know. But this is a spiritual distillation, and it's called the Dark Night of the Soul. If you haven't heard of the Dark Night of the Soul, I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend you go check it out. But I'm gonna give you a little bit in this video, okay? So first there's depression, and then there's the Dark Night of the Soul, right? With depression, you experiencing this low mood. You don't want to do anything. You feeling this apathy. You feeling really negative towards things. Really in a really dark place. You know, but a lot of times depression is based on something. It's based on something that you feel. Something that you're going through. Something. It's like a specific thing linked to that depression, and it can kind of lift up as they say, go get therapy, talk it out, stuff like that. It can lift up. Depression can last anywhere from days to weeks, months, and I mean sometimes years. But if depression is lasting more than a year, I mean, okay, depression can last years depending on coping, depending on how you're getting through something. But like I say, I feel personally that depression is based on something. Like there's something there, whether it's a loss of a loved one, whether it's a loss of a job, um, um, a relationship, something. It's something linked to it. Dark Night of the Soul is an existential pain. It's like nothing have meaning no more. You don't feel like you know yourself. You don't feel in your body, like everything feel purposeless. Everything feel like it's for nothing. Like you don't. It's like this deep agony. Like you might struggle with. You might have. If you're going through a dark night of the soul, you know what it's like. Suicidal. Like you have faced suicidal thoughts. You have faced that in a real way. Not joking about it. Like you can understand when somebody be like, I don't want to be here. What's the purpose of being here? Because mostly all you feeling is pain and nothing makes sense. Nothing makes sense. Nothing matters. Um, and the unfortunate part about that is that it can be there for years. It feels like it's never gonna change. It can feel like you're gonna be stuck there forever. Um, but I got some good news. You know, it can change. I'm living proof that it can change, even though it feels like it won't. Like I say, y'all, I struggle with it. I struggled with it for like 4 or 5 years. You know, 4 or 5, maybe 6 years. I did not feel like it was gonna change. Like I felt like my life was doomed to it because I lost my identity. I lost myself. I lost my sense of footing in the world, you know. But I want to talk about the stages of the dark night of the soul, okay? Um, one of the stages is existential depression. And that's what I just described. Like when you're going through that very dark agony, it feel like things feel meaningless. You don't feel like yourself. You don't feel like you know yourself. You feel detached from reality. It's almost like you're not even there. You just want to be alone, or you just. And for some, you might not want to be alone. You might feel desperate to be in the presence of somebody else because of how dark it feels when you are alone. You know, um, as a loss of ego, as a loss of self-importance, self-esteem. During this period, you're gonna experience the worst self-esteem that you have ever witnessed in your existence. It's going to be gone. You know, the good news about that is once you overcome that, self-esteem issues will never be a problem for you because overcoming a dark night of the soul means that you have established who you are when you are at a low place. You have built yourself from the weeds, from the darkness up to the light. So you have a foundation in that darkness. That has to happen, right? So there's existential depression. There's a loss of ego. Then there comes a point where consciousness start to develop. As you're going through these periods, you start to see things. You start to see patterns. You start to understand. Like I say, when things are not important, when you got that little bit of energy, you don't have that much energy. You go to bed. You know, you looking forward to going to bed. You looking forward to when everybody is away, from when everything is quiet. Like when you got that little bit of energy, before you tired, before you exhausted, like every day is exhausting. Just waking up is exhausting, you know. And if you have to do anything, it's gonna be exhausting. So you running off of very little bit. Your mind is exhausting. Like listening to your mind, like everything is exhausting. So when you have that little bit of energy, like shit that's not important, it's not gonna, it's not gonna go. It's not gonna flow. If it's not important, you're not gonna mess with it. So you're gonna get a strong sense of what's important and what's not. That's the blessing in it. And that starts to develop your consciousness, your awareness. That starts to have you put things into perspective. Even though you're in this dark space, it has a way of teaching you to be economical or wise with your energy, with what you're doing with your energy. All right. So if you're going through that, peep that. Like peep that. Uh, Next stage is you go through a surrender and letting go. It took me so long, y'all, to get to a place of surrender with my specific journey. So if you are a person that have no problem with surrender, then you will probably get through this much faster than I did. Like I found that surrender is the way, and not fake surrender, like true surrender. Like I spent a lot of time. I got a warrior spirit, y'all. As relaxed and calm as I am, I got a warrior spirit in me. You know, that's a big part of my personality. And I fought, man, tooth and nail. Like I was researching, I was trying to find strategies. I was doing everything I could because it was like I can't accept this. I have kids. I have a life. I have what I'm trying to be, what I'm trying to do. So I'm fighting. Life is telling me no. And I'm like, no, yeah, I can do this. I'm fighting, I'm fighting, I'm fighting. I'm bumping my head against the wall. And it's noble, right? Because I didn't want to just give up, you know what I'm saying? And I wanted to give it everything I got. It wasn't until I surrendered till I started seeing change, till I started seeing positive movement forward. Because until I surrendered, it's just like I get somewhere, I'll fall down, I'll crash even harder. Like, and it was just like my life is over. Like, and it was like my life is over. No, I can't lie there. I'm finna, and I'm just expending more energy. So surrender is very important because this is that self that you are that's trying to fight to stay alive. That's what you have to give up. And if this is a process, if you find yourself in this is a process that was blessed to you. This was a gift. It may not feel. I know it feel like everything but a gift, but this is a gift, and it's a spiritual gift. So, if this has found you, this is destined. It's destined. This was a call to take you out of this world or this function that you was in. This gonna be a long video right here because this one matters. This one matters. So yeah, you're gonna be called to let that go, and if you surrender, you able to let it go. You able to accept. I'm here. This is where I am. I'm depressed. My life is this. This is where I am. This is where I am. In that surrender, there starts to be an opening. There starts to be a humility, and then as thoughts come, as you feel like you're incapable, as you feel weak, you humble yourself and you be like, you just kind of allow some receptivity. You allow it to come through. Then you start getting small peaks of space, like small windows, small moments, days. You might get a day where you don't feel as depressed, or you might get a severe amount of like 1 to 2 hours or something where you don't feel any type of depression. You know it's there in the background, but it's like you feel like it's lighting up. That is a good sign. That's a good sign that that space of you is opening up. And spiritually, what's happening is you're overcoming. Your presence is outgrowing that small cage that you were really trapped in. You're outgrowing a cage. That's what's ultimately happening. Um, yeah, after you get through the surrender and letting go stage, then spiritual awakening happens. Spiritual awakening happens. Through that process of constantly seeing what's not important, what is important, there comes a point where you start to have more better days than you have bad days, or you start to have a little more better days. Then you start sabotaging it. Then that's what happened with me. I had good days. I started having more good days, and I was sabotaging because I, I don't want to get too happy and crash. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm used to the negative days, the bad moods coming and messing everything up. And so I got to a point where it's more positive and easy flowing energy will come, and I would just be like, nah. I'd be like, nah. I get giddy, super excited, like, and I'm happy and I'm riding it, and then I crash. Then it got to a point where it come and I'm happy. I'm trying to make the most of it. I'm trying to extend it, and then I crash. As that process kept happening, it came. I was thankful that it came, but I stayed where I was at. I kept some energy just in case it crashed, but enough like balance and neutrality where if I crash, I'll be okay. While this is here, I'm okay. And that started to become the focus. Being in that place where if it's good, I'm grateful. I don't go too high. Um, because if it swings low, I still, I don't crash. I still can be here. And that here-ness that I'm describing right now, that middle ground is what I'm describing, that spiritual awakening. As you start to become whole, you stop being so focused on happiness, because in this process, in this dark night of the soul process, for me anyway, one thing that I learned was so fleeting was happiness. I learned that happiness was fleeting, and that message is not gonna be for everybody right now. But in time, I think all of us will face that. All of us will face that. Happiness is an emotion. It's fleeting. What I think people are truly searching is joy. It's peace. Peace is such that whether you having a good day or a bad day, like I said in the outro, you're cool. I'm fine. Like bad things can come, and I welcome them. And I'm even looking for the good in them. And when things are really good, I'm also preparing myself and making space for when things are not as good, when things don't feel as pleasant. In that place, what you'll notice is that you're not doing this. You become the calm in the storm, and the more you do that, the less shakable you become in life. You feel me? So if you're going through this dark night of the soul, what we just described as the dark night of soul, like it changes. Like literally, y'all. I didn't have no energy. You feel me? I hated waking up. I hated, like, I used to feel relief when the nighttime came, cause I don't have to interact with people. I don't have to go to work. I don't have to do anything. I don't have to go and put this mask on, this armor on, and walk out through this again. I can just sleep. But it's like when I sleep, I never rested. I never rested, and I'm just trying to cling on to this nothingness. You know, I definitely got to the point where I didn't want to be here. You know, I even took suicidal attempts. Um, like, and I ain't gonna say I just strongly like tried to get myself out, but that's that warrior spirit. Tried to get myself out of here, but like I did have very reckless behavior, like where I was like, I did have things that I wanted to live for, but it didn't matter. It didn't matter. Like even my kids, I struggled with that. When my kids didn't take me, when me wanting to live for them wasn't enough to keep me, and I had to find something deeper. I had to find a deeper, truer, more genuine place. That's what I mean. It's going to awaken you. The good thing is on the other side, you can never be there again. You can never be that lost again, because you are gaining a synonymous connection with your innermost truth. So just hang on, be encouraged, and know that this will end. And there is a very, very small percentage of the human race that gets blessed with this opportunity that you have. And a lot of people are not going to understand it. And that's okay. That's okay. Because a lot of people, once you overcome this, and you will overcome this, a lot of people will not be able to have access to the things that you have access to. And I'm just totally keeping it real. You know what I'm saying? I love you very much. If you're going through this video is for you. It's for you. And I love you. And I'm here to let you know, like, you are special. You are special. And I'm honored to be able to be in a place to give you this message, because I know how needed it is, and I know that if God is allowing this message to come to you, that you are destined to meet me and God and yourself, your higher self, in this same place. So, congratulations. If God chose you to go through this, that means that you are a high spiritual ranking. And I'm excited for you, for what's to come in your life. Just hang on. With that being said, that's the message. Whether you are struggling to make ends meet, you're at the pinnacle of your success, whether today is a good day or a bad day, either way, the greatest place that you can come from is right where you are. Not perfect, just real. I wish you peace, love, and abundance every single day, but especially when it rains. With that, that's the message. If you appreciated the content, just let me know. Hit that like button. You can join the channel right here, and you can also check out other videos for the chance that they may give you some news you can use. That being said, that's the video.